chosen one before you scroll, before you doubt, before you tell yourself this is just another video. Pause for a moment and really be present here. The fact that you are listening to these words right now, right at the beginning of a new year, is not an accident. Something is shifting in your life, even if you can't fully explain it yet. You may not see clear evidence, you may not have results in your hands. But deep inside, there is a quiet awareness that this moment matters. This is not just another year passing. This is a turning point, and your soul recognizes it before your mind does. You didn't survive everything you survived just to repeat the same cycle again. You didn't walk through loneliness, confusion, emotional exhaustion, silent tears, and unanswered prayers just to stay stuck. Every setback, every delay, every season where things felt heavy was shaping you for this moment. Even when you thought nothing was happening, something was happening within you. Strength was being built. Awareness was forming. Discernment was sharpening. And now, as this new year begins, that internal work is ready to surface. If you're honest with yourself, you already feel different. Maybe not confident yet, maybe not certain, but different. Things that once mattered don't hold the same power. Things that once excited you feel empty, and things you once avoided now call to you. That shift can feel uncomfortable. It can feel lonely. It can even make you question whether something is wrong with you. But nothing is wrong. This is growth. This is maturity. This is the moment where the old version of you quietly steps aside. The last season wasn't meant to be easy. It was meant to be revealing. You were stripped of distractions, forced into reflection, pushed into silence. And in that silence, you learned things about yourself that you couldn't have learned any other way. You learned who stayed when you had nothing to offer. You learned who only showed up when it benefited them. You learned how strong you actually are when no one is cheering for you. Those lessons weren't comfortable, but they were necessary. You may have noticed that as this year approaches, you don't feel the same excitement everyone else seems to feel. There's no rush, no fireworks inside you. Instead, there's a seriousness, a stillness, a sense of awareness that feels deeper than celebration. That doesn't mean you're ungrateful. It means you're awake. Big changes don't always announce themselves with noise. Sometimes they arrive quietly, asking you to pay attention. You are stepping into a year that will demand honesty from you. Honesty about what you want. Honesty about what you've been avoiding. Honesty about what no longer aligns with who you are becoming. And that honesty can feel heavy at first, because it requires letting go of illusions. Letting go of people, habits, and beliefs that once made you feel safe but now hold you back. That process can feel like loss, even when it's actually liberation. There is a reason certain doors didn't open before now. A reason certain opportunities slipped through your hands. A reason some connections fell apart despite your efforts to hold them together. You were not being denied. You were being protected. If you had received certain things too early, they would have cost you yourself. You weren't ready then, and what was meant for you wasn't ready either. Timing is not punishment, it's precision. As this new year begins, you are being invited into a higher level of responsibility, not just externally but internally. Responsibility for your energy, your boundaries, your choices. You can no longer afford to move unconsciously. You can no longer pour into spaces that leave you empty. This year will push you to choose yourself in ways you may have avoided before. And at first, but that choice may feel uncomfortable, even selfish. But it's not, it's necessary. You may still feel uncertain about how everything will unfold, and that's okay. Clarity doesn't always come all at once. Sometimes it comes step by step through action, through trust, through listening to that inner voice you once ignored. The important thing is that you don't go back to who you were just because the future feels unfamiliar. Growth requires courage, and courage often feels like fear in disguise. This year is not about proving anything to anyone. It's not about rushing, competing, or comparing your path to someone else's timeline. It's about alignment, about moving in a way that feels true, even when it's quiet, even when no one applauds, even when it feels lonely. especially when it feels lonely. Because solitude is where your clarity sharpens and your purpose becomes undeniable. There is something powerful forming in your life right now. Not loud, not flashy, but real. And real things last. You are stepping into a season where your inner world begins to shape your outer reality. Where the work you did in silence starts to matter. Where the patience you were forced to learn begins to pay off. But first, you must trust that the discomfort you feel is not a sign to stop. It's a sign that you are crossing a threshold. So take a breath as this year begins. Don't rush ahead of yourself. Don't judge where you are. Honor the journey that brought you here. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are not late. You are standing at the edge of change, and everything you've been through was preparing you for this exact moment. As this new year continues to unfold, you may start noticing subtle changes in the way you think, feel, and respond to the world around you. Things that once drained your energy will become harder to tolerate. Situations you used to accept without question may suddenly feel heavy or misaligned. This is not you becoming difficult or disconnected. This is you becoming aware. Awareness is often the first sign that growth is happening, even when nothing on the surface has changed yet. You are entering a season where your intuition speaks louder than outside opinions. The inner voice you once ignored or doubted now feels impossible to silence. It nudges you away from certain choices, warns you when something feels off, and pulls you toward what feels true. At times, this guidance may not make logical sense. It may challenge habits you've relied on or relationships you've outgrown. But the more you listen, the clearer your path becomes. This year will ask you to stop forcing what isn't flowing. You may realize how often you tried to hold things together that were already falling apart. How much energy you spent proving your worth, explaining your intentions, or staying in spaces where you felt unseen. That pattern begins to break now, not through anger or bitterness, but through clarity. You simply won't have the energy to keep pretending anymore. You'll start choosing peace over chaos without needing to justify it. You'll walk away from conversations that feel draining. You'll protect your time and energy in ways you never did before. And while this may confuse some people, it will bring relief to your soul. Growth often looks like distance to those who benefited from your silence. This is also the year where discipline quietly replaces motivation. Instead of waiting to feel inspired, you'll begin showing up because you understand your purpose. Small, consistent actions will matter more to you than sudden bursts of effort. You'll realize that real change isn't dramatic. It's built slowly, through daily choices that align with who you are becoming. There may be moments when the old version of you tries to return. Moments of self-doubt, fear, or the urge to go back to what felt familiar. That doesn't mean you're failing. It means you're human. Growth is not a straight line. But this time, you won't stay there long. You'll recognize the pattern and choose differently. That awareness alone is progress. You may also notice a shift in the way you relate to people. Some connections will naturally fade, not because of conflict, but because the alignment is no longer there. Other connections may deepen unexpectedly, built on honesty and mutual respect rather than convenience. This refining process can feel lonely, but it's intentional. Not everyone is meant to come with you into your next chapter. This year invites you to take responsibility for your healing, to stop blaming the past and start learning from it, to acknowledge the pain without letting it define you. Healing doesn't mean forgetting what happened. It means no longer letting it control your decisions. And as you heal, you'll notice your reactions change. What once triggered you will lose its power. You are also stepping into a time where your values become non-negotiable. You'll know what you stand for, what you won't accept, and where you draw the line. Boundaries will no longer feel like walls, they'll feel like protection. You'll understand that saying no to what drains you is saying yes to what fulfills you. There will be moments when progress feels slow, when you wonder if anything is actually changing. But growth often happens beneath the surface before it becomes visible. Roots grow in darkness before they break through the soil. Trust that what you're building now will support you later. This year is not about perfection, it's about intention. About choosing alignment even when it's uncomfortable. About trusting yourself enough to walk away from what no longer serves you. About understanding that your path doesn't need to look like anyone else's to be valid. You may feel called to spend more time alone this year, not out of isolation, but out of reflection. Solitude will help you hear yourself clearly again. It will help you reconnect with your purpose without outside noise. And in that quiet, you'll remember who you are beyond expectations, roles, and labels. This season is teaching you patience in a deeper way. Not passive waiting, but active trust. Trust in the timing of your life. Trust in the lessons you've learned. Trust in your ability to handle what comes next. You don't need to have every answer right now. You only need to take the next honest step. As this year moves forward, you will start to see how everything you went through was preparing you for this level of clarity. The confusion had a purpose. The delays had meaning. Nothing was wasted. You are not starting from zero, you are starting from experience. And slowly, quietly, you will begin to feel more grounded, more certain, more at peace with who you are and where you're going. Not because life suddenly becomes easy, but because you become stronger, wiser, and more aligned than you've ever been before. As this year continues to unfold, you will begin to understand that not everything meant to leave your life was a loss. Some endings were protection. Some distance was mercy. Some silence was necessary for you to finally hear yourself again. What once felt like abandonment will slowly reveal itself as redirection. You were not pushed away to be punished. You were pulled back so you could realign with what truly belongs to you. You may notice that you no longer have the same tolerance for situations that drain you emotionally or spiritually. Things you once accepted just to keep the peace will now feel unbearable. This is not because you've become cold or distant. It's because you've learned the cost of ignoring your inner voice. You've learned what it feels like to abandon yourself, and you're no longer willing to do that again. This year will ask you to release attachment to outcomes you can't control, to let go of the need to know exactly how everything will work out. That can feel uncomfortable, especially if you're used to planning, overthinking, or trying to manage every detail. But surrender doesn't mean giving up. It means trusting that what's meant for you doesn't require force. What's aligned will meet you halfway. There may be moments when you feel lonely, even surrounded by people. Moments when you realize that not everyone can meet you where you are now. This kind of loneliness is different. It's not emptiness, it's transition. It's the space between who you were and who you're becoming. And while it may feel unfamiliar, it's also where clarity is born. You will also begin to see how much strength you've gained through everything you endured. Situations that once overwhelmed you will no longer shake you the same way. You won't react as quickly. You won't take things as personally. You'll pause, observe, and choose your response with intention. That emotional maturity is proof of your growth, even if no one else sees it. This year will bring opportunities, but they may not arrive in the way you expect. They might come disguised as responsibility, challenge, or change. You may be asked to step outside your comfort zone, to speak up when you once stayed quiet, to take action where you once hesitated. These moments are not meant to intimidate you. They are invitations to rise. You'll also become more aware of your inner resilience. When obstacles appear, you won't immediately assume you're failing. You'll recognize them as part of the process. You'll remember that every meaningful path includes resistance. Instead of turning back, you'll adjust and keep moving forward. This year is about integration, bringing together everything you've learned, everything you've healed, everything you've survived. You are no longer fragmented. You are becoming whole. The parts of you that once felt broken now make sense. Your past no longer feels like something you need to run from. It becomes something you draw strength from. You may feel called to simplify your life, to remove unnecessary noise, distractions, and obligations, to focus on what truly matters to you. This simplification isn't about having less. It's about making room. Room for clarity. Room for peace. Room for what aligns with your values and purpose. There will be moments of doubt, because growth doesn't erase uncertainty. But doubt will no longer paralyze you. You'll learn to move forward even when you're not completely sure. You'll trust yourself enough to take the next step without needing the entire path to be visible. That trust is something you earned through experience. As the year progresses, you may notice a quiet confidence settling within you. Not arrogance, not loud self-assurance, but a grounded sense of knowing who you are. You won't feel the need to prove yourself or seek constant validation. Your worth will feel internal, stable, unshaken by external opinions. You will also become more selective with your energy, more intentional with your time, more present in your choices. You'll understand that your energy is your currency, and you'll stop spending it on things that don't give anything back. This shift alone will change the quality of your life in ways you didn't expect. This year is not about becoming perfect. It's about becoming honest. Honest with yourself about what you want, what you need, and what you're no longer willing to accept. That honesty will guide your decisions more than fear ever did. And while it may lead you down unfamiliar paths, those paths will feel true. Toward the end of this season, you'll look back and realize how much you've changed. Not in dramatic, visible ways, but in the way you carry yourself, the way you speak to yourself, the way you respond to challenges. You'll see that the strength you were searching for outside of yourself was quietly growing within you all along. You are not late. You are not behind. You are exactly where you need to be to step into the next phase of your life. This year will not change everything overnight, but it will change the direction of your life. And one day, you'll recognize this year as the moment everything truly began to align.